mysteries abound around the world, from strange lights in the night sky to ghostly apparitions passing from one realm to the next. From the great pyramids of Egypt to what lies beneath the depths of Loch Ness. From Bigfoot to Atlantis, they are all mysteries waiting to be solved. Join Laurie Phillips, Lauren Smith, Graz, and Billy Simmons as they search for the truth on Nite Callers Radio.
Good evening and welcome to Nite Callers Bigfoot Radio. It is October 29th, 2015, and you're here with your full crew, Graz, Lori, Lauren, and Billy. How y'all doing tonight?
Hanging in there.
I sound like I need a pocket protector.
NSA is messing with me for the last couple of days. And we can do it. I'll keep fighting. Come on.
All right, well, you guys, you just wait until the next time you're sick. I'm gonna let y'all have it.
Well, you don't have to wait long with this bunch.
No. Between us, one of us is always sick, especially me and Billy. We got little ones running around, and they are germ disseminators. They love to spread the goodness around.
I'm never sick. I'm just old and tired.
Yeah.
Flavor of the week.
Yep. Parainfluenza is the flavor of the week for us. It's an upper respiratory virus, highly contagious if you're in that person's breathing space, which I have a toddler, so he has to
breathe on you.
Yeah, he has to be 0.4 inches from my eye to tell me something. So, yeah, that's fun.
I'm sorry. I hope you get to feeling better. And everyone, she's probably going to bail before the show is over. So just to let you know, you don't hear her. She's going to go down some NyQuil and go to bed.
I can't down any NyQuil. I would love to down some NyQuil. That would be so fantastic.
You overachiever. I just had to use it.
Trust me, that's the worst part right now about being sick. I can handle being sick if I can have some drugs, but I don't have any. All I can take is Dayquil and Tylenol.
Oh man. Oh well.
I know. Yeah. Don't get pregnant and don't have babies. Just saying, don't do it.
I can't relate with this conversation at all.
Yeah. Guess what though? 2 more days till Halloween. Only 2 more days.
She's got the good drugs over there, obviously.
No, I just got coffee. It's a natural high.
Can't have that either. Anyway, so y'all have anything going on Bigfoot related in your areas?
No. I heard something strange the other night. I heard a whole bunch of horned owls, like about 5 or 6, and some of them didn't sound like horned owls. And I've never heard so many horned owls or pseudo-horned owls all at one time. And then we haven't heard them since. Generally, when horned owls move into the area, they stay for, a while. You hear them every night. But in this case, I haven't heard them since. It was just really strange. That was last Saturday night. So, I don't know. Could it have been? Maybe. Maybe not. But it was odd. Very odd. What about you, Bill? I know you've had some stuff going on. So, you want to share with us real quick what's been going on over at your place?
Yeah, we've had a lot of activity in the last couple of weeks. We had a baby calf that got somewhere between 3 and 6. We checked on the mother last at 3 in the afternoon. Came back at 6 to check on her, and the calf was dead, and not just dead. but ripped in half, and the upper half missing. Wasn't a big cat, it wasn't clawed up or anything like that. Had a lot of stuff going on at night out here since it's cooled down so much. In fact, the other night, sitting here at the computer, and one of them sailed a rock and just inches from the window and hit the side of the house. It's cooled off enough. We've got the windows up. Life is good, and sitting here, Lord knows what I was watching, but it was making noise and dogs raising sand, and it got quiet, and all of a sudden, wham! Hit the side of the house. So they're prowling around up here, but they're awful hungry, and to take that calf down, and that's not far from the house where that occurred. And plus, we've got the donkey out there, and he'll square off with about anything.
I don't think we should talk about your mother-in-law that way.
Do we? Ooh. I hope she's not listening tonight, Lauren. You're in big trouble. That's not on me. I didn't say it.
Somebody's scared. Woo! Well, that sounds pretty scary, man. I'd definitely keep your dogs and your kids close to the house.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And it's just the one dog. The rest of them are staying kind of quiet. All the cats have just disappeared around here at night. I mean, they hook it, they're gone. So they're coming up close to the house, passing by.
Man.
That's about it for now. I'm sure it'll keep picking up. The cooler it gets.
Yeah.
I hope so here too. I really do. It's kind of, I don't know, just random, very random. Anyway, Graz, I saw that you took an adventure. Did you get out and find you some new roads that were open?
Yeah, I took a day trip on Sunday. I had to get an oil change anyway, so I went and got the oil change, and it was a 50-50 whether I was going or not. I just said the heck with it, stayed in the Jeep and head out there. I don't like having to go too far out there because I have to pass through King County, and King County is Seattle to me, and every time I go through King County, man, that costs me money. I was lucky to get through there and back up through Snohomish County, up into that mountain. Washington liberals. But I did it. Made it up about halfway up the loop, couldn't make it all the way around, pulled over for something to eat, and started getting a little bit too late, and I turned around and came on back again. I needed to get down the other side of that pass to the other bridge below to be able to connect with my old road that had been washed out a couple of years ago, and I haven't been able to make it up there. So I found this other road to make it up there, and I didn't make it all the way down to my usual spots. So it was a good day just to get out and drive around.
Oh, yeah. That's nothing better than going exploring. Going on an adventure. Beats the heck out of staying home watching TV.
That's squatching. Take a Jeep up out in the mountains.
Yep.
Still got to get my squatch van up and running. That's about it.
Well, if y'all ready, I'm ready to bring on our guest, Jimmy Hayes. So, Grab, they didn't send a very big bio, so it shouldn't take you long at all to read that little bit there.
No.
I can make up some
big
stuff
words.
about them if you want. I can throw some stuff in there if you want. I don't know if Jimmy liked it, but I can make it up for him. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Nite Callers Bigfoot Radio presents Jimmy Hayes of Pennsylvania. In continuing the North American Sasquatch Research Series, Nite Callers Bigfoot Radio brings you a very special guest, Jimmy Hayes from Pennsylvania. Jimmy is a 42-year-old who owns his own landscaping business. He's an outdoorsman who plays hockey and rides dirt bikes when he can. Jimmy became interested in Bigfoot about 5 years ago, even though growing up he never thought about it. He saw advertisements for the Finding Bigfoot show and became curious, setting out to see if he could see one. And he did, a sighting that lasted for nearly 5 minutes. So join us tonight as we interview Jimmy and find out about the Sasquatch in Pennsylvania. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Graz. Hey, Jimmy. Welcome to Nite Callers Bigfoot Radio.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, it's our honor. It is our honor. It's been a while since we've had anybody from Pennsylvania on the show, so what's the weather doing up there where you are?
Well, what they're doing is, I can't tell you what they're doing because I really don't see them that much, but if you want to hear about, when I did see one, I could start there.
I'm sorry. I was asking you what the weather is doing up there.
Oh, the weather. It was 74 today. It was nice.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Good day to work.
Okay. Well, let me ask you then, how this all began for you.
Well, one night, me and my girlfriend, we were hanging out, whatever, and I saw the Bigfoot commercial, and the next day I Googled some stuff, and I found the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society, and they had a story on there, and they had a deer kill up in North Jersey, and the deer was ripped in half, just like the guy was talking about the calf, but the deer was left in the tree. Now, it wasn't left in the top of the tree, it was left in the V of the tree at the bottom, like something was using it as a stand to eat from, and there was blood marks going from left to right on the tree stump, but it wasn't, it was in the stump, it was a regular tree. So they said that the guts were on the ground, but they said only certain organs were taken, like the liver. Now, over the 5 years, I learned that the liver has the highest protein organ in the body.
Right.
So, I heard other people say that, they give it to the kids, whatever. I mean, I don't know anything about that. I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up anybody's ass about talking to them or seeing them or knowing what they do, because I can't tell you what they do. That's the honest thing, right?
Right.
Right. So, so then I went on the BFRO and I started looking at, all the stories and the coincidences, and it's always, at nighttime, by accident, crossing the road, you know what I mean? All the similar stories. So, so after I got into that, I'm kind of a possessed person. When I heard about that thing being real, I was kind of like, I got to see this thing for myself. You know what I mean? It was like the only thing in my mind at the time, like, go and do it, you know what I mean? Because I had to do it. So we rented a cabin in Lower Pittsburgh. It's called Warfordsburg, PA. You ever hear that place? It's Tuscarora Mountain Range off of, it's like right past Harrisburg, between Harrisburg and Pittsburgh.
Is it the Adirondacks or no?
No, that's New York. Adirondacks is New York. This is Appalachian Mountains.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so PA Maryland border. Now, see, people think the highest point of PA is the Poconos, but Mount Davis in lower southwest PA is 4,000 feet, and that's the highest point, and that's where all the sightings are. I mean, Beaver County, Adams County, Chestnut Ridge, Pittsburgh. I mean, it's loaded over there. That's where Salt Fork comes in from Ohio. That whole area is loaded with sightings. But, that's an 8-hour ride, so I figured I'd ride 3 hours. I found a 75-acre private getaway with 3 cabins on it. So I was like, wow, this is like, there's no roads there, nothing. So we went there. We're on the, one night, we're hanging out on the, the outside porch, we're having a couple beers, burning a candle. We're sitting there, and I got the flashlight. I'm like, let's see if we see something, we never know. So 4 a.m, we're out there, and something growled behind the cabin. My girlfriend says to me, that's a possum. I said, possums don't growl. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't think a possum growls. I never heard a possum growl in my life.
They do growl, but it's a very little growl. It's like
well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, we're talking about behind the cabin. Like, if I heard it in front of the cabin, it was pretty, Now, this cabin where I stayed at had a dumpster. And the dumpster was adjacent to this creek, and there was like a bluff. Now, that day when I got to this cabin, I noticed that there was footprints going to and from the dumpster. And I saw bear prints, and I saw barefoot human prints, which were a little larger in size than a regular foot, you know?
Yeah.
That was my first time out there, so I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just, I'm just winging it, you know? So my girlfriend, the dogs, I got 2 dogs, they go to sleep. Now it's like 6 in the morning. The sun's about to come up. I'm on my last cigarette, and I look across. Now, we have a big opening in front of our cabin. It's all, like, cleared out. About 80 yards away, I see this little pine tree. The pine tree had 2 bases. Like, when you see a pine tree, it has that thin little base?
Yeah.
Okay, well, this had 2 bases. Now, I looked over there, and I was like, how could I got my binoculars on, and I seen what I seen. At the time, I described it as Cornelius from Planet of the Apes. But it had a flatter face. I'm not kidding. The thing was
I believe you, sir.
The thing was using, now I got 2015 vision. I got crystal clear vision, and I know it was late at night, too, and I was a bartender, so the drinks weren't affecting me. I'm a pro. You know what I mean? So I was on my wits, So this thing, I remember to this day, it had a stick in his hand, in his right hand, because his shoulder was facing me, and it was going back and forth from the tree, trying to get bugs from the tree, like a chimpanzee does in Africa.
Oh, interesting. So you knew he was getting bugs.
Huh? Well, no, when he had the stick going up to the tree, and it was kind of obvious to him. I only see that behavior one other time, and that's on documentaries on TV with, chimpanzees using the bug to get because if they try to get the bugs with their fingers, they'll crush them.
Right.
So their fingers are sloppy. They have great hands, but their fingers are sloppy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I'm just sitting there like in awe. So I moved. And we try to regather your binoculars again. The way it moved, and it went up into this little bluff. And now I just seen it from the legs down. I seen it from the mid-thigh down to the toes. And when I say the chimp thing again, it stood there with a crooked stance. Where if you ever see a chimpanzee stand up straight, it can't stand straight because its ankles are set up different on the foot than ours.
Right.
It sat there with that crooked knee, and the hair on the knee was not prominent.
Yeah.
So we sat there, literally had a stare off for like 2 minutes. I mean, this is going on from what was happening. Me watching, he didn't even know I was watching him because what happened was the nighttime went right to sunlight, so he must have been there while it was dark. And then when the sun came up, and I was just sitting there not moving on the thing. I mean, he probably knew I was there, but he didn't. He was out in the open, and he didn't move until I moved. So he went up on that bluff. We stared at each other. I didn't see his face anymore. I just saw his legs down, and he didn't move. He waited me out, and then when I moved again, it took off, and that was it.
Did it ever look at you?
I don't know, because like I said, when I had it in the binoculars, I was watching its behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I moved, I didn't you can't walk and move with your binoculars. It's hard to do. I mean,
Wow.
I know what I seen. The thing that was standing on that bluff. I mean, only a 2-legged animal could stand there on that thing because I went up there and it was amazing. It was. Now,
okay.
3 years ago,
when was this? When was this?
5 years ago. Huh?
5 years ago. Okay. 2010.
Right around then. But I also saw something in Jersey, too. Now, I ride these dirt bikes right across the bridge, and it's called Bedford. There's an oil refinery there, and it's abandoned. And there's turkeys and deer out the yin yang there, and it's all tall grass. Where I mean, as the grass is like 8 feet high, and there's literally straw huts made there, like with holes in them. It looks like somebody's like making pee-pee holes, but there's nothing there. There's nothing in these holes. I mean, this is the thing about Bigfoot. You can find the physical evidence, but you can't find them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You can find the broken trees, you can find the footprints all you want, but getting that glimpse of them, it's really, like people have been doing it for 20-some years and never seen the thing. People still think
You're
it's
right.
Gigantopithecus. People think it's a Gigantopithecus, and they're way off. I hate to say it, but they're way off.
So what do you
Not
think it
gigantic.
is?
What do I think it is?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this might sound crazy, but it's an interdimensional being that can come into our world and leave when it wants.
That's what you think it is, then, huh?
I know it is because I've taken thousands of videos and probably 20,000 pictures. When I tell you there's nothing there and there's these apes in the pictures with faces and noses and fingers and fingernails and tongues, I mean, they're not there in person. How could something be there? It's like Dracula. Like, he's in the mirror, but he's not. You know what I mean? It's like the reverse.
Well,
Now,
what do you think about the theory that they say that they have a vibration? That
Well, vibration. It's all about energy. It's an energy thing. And I'm not an expert, but if you listen to Kalani Lasparidis, I mean, he's on target at what's going on. And I just found out about him this year, but I've been thinking this way for 5 years just through my pictures. See, the problem is with Finding Bigfoot, what they're doing is they're piggybacking everybody. The passion comes from you yourself going out there and looking for stuff. If you're going up to people saying, "Where did you see?" Or "Where did you see it over here?" It's like anybody can do that. Luck, because these things know what you're all about before you even get in the woods. I mean, I went to a state park in Maryland on Saturday. And what I do is I put a GoPro on my head and I walk around the woods and I film everything. Wherever I'm looking at, I film. And then I go home and I put the video in a movie maker and I edit the film frame by frame. Now, these images are there 1 second and they're gone. I mean, literally in one frame it could be a solid ape person, okay, that looks like Bigfoot. And the next moment, in the next frame, it could be a blur. And then it could be one eye open and one eye closed. I mean, these things are what they can do is unbelievable. They can morph through physical objects.
You know, there are a lot of people that you probably encountered that disagree with you on this. I'm pretty sure
they won't, because guess what? They ain't got no answers either.
Yeah.
And I have no answers. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just saying this is my opinion. And people have been trying to see them for 20 years and they can't find a dead body because they're living in a different dimension. And as soon as you can wrap your head around that, people will get further in the game. You can't close your mind to this thing because we don't know what they are. And if you close off an avenue of thought, I mean, you're really closing off your own results.
It's true, but
I know it sounds crazy.
Listen,
I'm from the city. I'm really smart. I got my own business. I got my own hockey team. I got all my wits with me. I didn't lose it, okay? And I thought about the physical thing for the last 3 years. But in the last 2 years, you know, I'm going in this different direction now because there's no physical evidence. Put it this way, every animal in the forest will be eaten from these things because there's not one or two of them. There's hundreds and thousands of these things. They don't even need the food. They don't even need the deer. They don't, because they're not even living in our dimension. If you go into, there's this thing called the Urantia book, okay? And it talks about Jesus and Earth. And these guys got dreams in the 50s, and they wrote this before the Internet. They wrote down their dreams, and they described Jesus and the universe through these dreams, okay? And they're really on point if you read this book. But they describe in this one page, it's called the Midwayers. And he describes them, and I think it's Esau in the Bible. He even says the hairy man, that it's something different created in us.
Right.
But they have teleportation. They can read minds. They can probably time travel. They just proved teleportation, time with flight. And the vibration thing you're talking about, frequency and vibration. These things are like, it's like dogs. Dogs can hear things and cats can hear things we can't.
True.
I don't know. I don't have the answers, but I just know that everything's open. Everything's on the table with this stuff. And, you know, Todd Stanley can put his Muppets out there and stuff like that, and have Michael Jackson in the corner blinking his eyes. You know, that's fake.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I've heard that. I haven't really observed Todd.
Well, here's one good thing, I think. I mean, you have to. It's all about behavior. People want to, act like the people talk like, yeah, I was there, I felt them. You feel nothing because you didn't see nothing. I'll be the first one to say I don't see them.
But
they're in the picture.
True, because I have felt them, felt their presence.
Oh no, some people are more sensitive than others too. It's like a psychic thing. It's like if you're a certain sign. Like the dead can talk to you. Like my grandmother talks to my girlfriend, but my grandmother can't get to me for some reason. And my girlfriend says things that only my grandmother said to me, like the word fresh. Like that was an old school word. When your mother would say, "Oh, you're being fresh," right? You ever hear that term before?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're acting fresh. Well, my girlfriend didn't know that word, and she heard that one night while we were talking. She was talking to my dead grandmother or whatever. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is some people probably can feel them. Some people can't.
Well, I don't know about my psychic abilities, but I know that I
what
can
is it? See, I listen to the Native Americans. I listen to the Native Americans. They talk. They say, see, they call them Chikanka, which means elder brother in the Dakota Sioux. I mean, they've been here forever, I think. I mean, when I talk about forever, I'm talking about like Pangea, like Lemuria, like Laurasia. Because how do they get on different continents if they didn't swim? I mean, they didn't have boats. How are they in Australia?
Well, now there were land bridges.
There
were land bridges, back in.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It had to be back to the time of a supercontinent or the mini supercontinents that were there.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of questions.
Now there's another theory about the Anunnaki too.
We don't have all the answers, And
how about the Anunnaki? Did you hear about them?
The what?
They're called the Anunnaki.
I've heard that before.
They're the ancient Sumerians.
Okay.
They're supposedly the ones who created the ones that built the pyramids.
Right.
Well, they were
also the ones
they were aliens. They were aliens. Everybody's coming to this planet for gold. Because gold's the best transmitter in the universe. People are fighting wars over this stuff too today. See, there's a lot of shit going on we don't know about. And like I said, it's the stuff that Kalani's talking. I mean, if you follow him, what he's talking, it sounds out of this world, but it kind of makes sense too because nothing else makes sense.
Well, do you actually go out and try to find evidence of Bigfoot?
Sure. Oh, I have footprints. I got a cast. But try carrying around the plaster with you. That gets old because it's heavy.
Yeah.
So are you busting your head about what to do with the cameras?
What did you say, Bob?
Are you busting your head over what to do with the cameras, about how you can get around what it is they're doing?
Well, I heard that UV cameras. I heard might because it's a spectrum thing. Like they play with the light. They kind of bend the light, which is what they do. See what they can do? This is what they can do. Like the movie Predator is my best example of what they can do. They can do that. And even the guy on Finding Bigfoot explained that. He said, I saw this horrible thing chasing a deer down a mountain across the road. He said it was chasing the deer, but it was clear. He said I could see right through it, but it was the silhouette of a fucking ape person. Sorry about the language. But you know what I mean? It's like if somebody said that and seen that, and I'm describing that, and I'm saying that they can turn invisible. And now I know people with pictures. I can't say their name was for secrecy, but I have pictures of smoky people turning into physical from a trail cam. It's like an entity that's turning physical that looks like a Bigfoot. It's like spinning into like I don't know how it's. Like I said, I can't explain it because I'm not a physics person. But it's kind of like they manifest. They manifest from, it's like a gas solid liquids thing. I don't know how they do it.
Well,
People say they're blobs in pictures because, you know why? Because they're not there. They're not there at all. You're bringing something in out of nothing.
Well, I'm a tech nut, and
okay, you know what quantum physics is? You know what
quantum
physics is?
What is?
Quantum physics.
Well, yeah, but what I was going to say was years ago I was working with infrared, and I've still got all the stuff in the back room. Have you ever heard of night shot cameras?
The night vision or just regular trail cameras
Night
that can do
shot.
nighttime? No, what's that?
It's a Sony camera.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what all cameras have is a filter inside the lens, and what it does is it blocks out everything except what we call visible light. It blocks everything else out except for that little band of visible light that we can see. That way the camera looks like what we see. With the night shot camera, it's got a little switch inside. You flick it, and it moves that lens out of the way, and the camera becomes a full spectrum camera.
Right. There you go.
Right. And if you, now their theory was it would help people with doing video at night, and it does help along those lines. But if you
need thermal. You need thermal for nighttime, I think.
Yeah. But if you use infrared lights with it, which I've got a bunch of those too, it basically explodes the whole nighttime into a greenish but very clear camera.
Right.
It pulls in all the infrared spectrum. One of the things that I was studying also was ghost work. That's the reason I got into infrared. I wanted to figure out why cameras can see a ghost, but we can't.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's like the camera's picking up things that we can't see.
Right, and this is why I was tearing the cameras apart.
The video is better than the camera, right? I'm sorry, the video is even better than the camera for some reason, because the video captures more light. Is that how it works? I don't know.
No, it's the processing and the digital chip inside that picks up the light. It's the camera processing that picks up all the frequencies we can't see. It's it's basically like a cat. A cat can see all these things. So the chip.
This might not make sense. Okay.
Right. So the chip sees all this light, and when I was working with ghost hunting, I wanted to figure out what lenses I could put over that camera to be able to focus in on the ghosts, what frequency they're at. And
you have an EMF reader? You have EMF reader?
Right, I've got all that. But
that's
what
you want to use, I heard.
Yeah, those work to a certain point within a certain range of feet. But what I was doing was driving in daylight through cemeteries.
Right.
And I would take one, and I had not just video, but I made some regular digital still cameras in the same fashion. I did that hack to the camera there. So I was taking this camera and taking one picture and then layer from left to right, layering them over 50% so that you get a constant movement of the camera going from left to right. If anything moves, you'll see it up here and then down there in the next frame. So it'll show movement. And I actually caught something.
Did you get an orb?
It did work. And I got...
I'm saying, did you catch an orb? Did you catch an orb?
No, I actually got what the only thing I can describe it is a dimensional wall. A box. About maybe 5 feet by about 3 feet, floating in the air in one frame, and then floating farther down to the bottom right in the next frame.
Whoa.
So it actually worked, and it was using the infrared from the sun through this camera, opening up some frequency in that camera that I was going to have to try to, get down to just get rid of all the other frequencies and try to find that one that fits in there.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know anything about that stuff. That's why I play hockey.
It's not that hard to figure if you
I
can
know. Just
get
really
the right
tough to get
camera.
through.
Sony Night Shot makes those cameras.
Right, yeah, Sony makes good stuff.
I don't know if they do anymore, but the ones I have are from like the year 2000, 1999 and 2000.
Right.
And they have the clearest ones. The new cameras have all kinds of filters, and it's all electronic now. It doesn't have that switch that you can move out of the way.
I was trying to say to you, the old cameras with the film, I think work better than the new stuff. It's just too expensive, and it's too time-consuming developing all the film.
Right.
Because
and you can do the same thing with those. Yeah, you can do the same thing with regular film camera by using the correct filter on the camera and using the correct light to shine at that.
Well, see, this is what happens. When you use a digital camera and you see, most of these images are from like 50 to 60 yards away. See, I use my cell phone most of the time. So to bring something in from 60 yards away, what the digital camera does, it blows up the crop instead of the actual what you're seeing, you know?
Right.
And that's where the pixelation
comes in. Up of the digital pattern, yeah.
Yeah, so my girlfriend has it on my car, I might whip it out. No.
Jimmy, could that be the reason why that when you go to framing it out, are you also filming video from your phone?
No, the video's from my GoPro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, this I have a Samsung Galaxy. I know it's a cell phone, but when I do video in the woods with this thing, I'm telling you, I have to sit down next to you guys one day and show you this stuff because I'm telling you, it has to be pointed out in person. Your jaw would drop because they're all over the place. Like if you walk through the woods and you see an indentation in the ground and like the grass, and it looks like something was sitting there, take a picture of it. Next time you're out in the woods, when you see like something was sitting there, it probably was deer or something. But now this other thing I do is called noise reduction. When I go through my Windows Live photo gallery, I hit noise reduction, and it blurs it on purpose because I can literally show you a picture with nothing in it, absolutely nothing. Images of beings, of these Bigfoot-looking people. They look exactly like Bigfoot. They're apes, people standing up straight, 2 legs. And it's not just in the woods. It's down the street at the local creek. I mean, I live in the most populated county in the country, Delaware County, Pennsylvania. I live right outside of Philadelphia. And I follow this one creek into 5 townships. And I've had footprints in all the town. I find down the street, I found a deer leg, okay, with no body, just a deer leg snapped off. Now, there's no predators around here. There's no bear. There's only raccoons and deer and skunks, possums, the little shit. So what ripped the deer's leg off? What snapped the deer's leg and took the body away? Behind Kmart.
Behind Kmart?
Behind Kmart, yes.
Well, it could be anything.
I'm saying, what hunts down a deer? Right outside the city of Philadelphia, because like I said, you have to drive at least an hour and a half to 2 hours to get to any bears. Like I said, there's a daycare center there. There's a dog park. I mean, I live in Philly. I'm like right 5 minutes outside of Philly. And there's a deer leg down the street. Ripped off. And then now in these other townships, I have deer bones. What's the bone in between the knee and the leg? I mean, the foot, what's that called?
The tibula? Is it the tibula or fibula?
Small bone, the small bone. I found 3 bones snapped off from the knee, like licked clean, and no chew marks on it, like snapped. I find smoked out deer bodies, like the bodies are smoked out. All that's there is the skin and the fur. All the legs are snapped.
Jimmy, I have to ask you, do you think all Bigfoot are like you say this? Or do you think that some of them are? Do you think that all the Bigfoot that are in in the world are interdimensional, or do you think just
say
some
that.
of them are?
I can't answer that. I can't answer that because I don't know, and I'm not going to sit there and lie and act like I do. But there could be different types. I mean, I don't know if you ever saw the movie, but there's Homo floresiensis. They're still living in Asia. They're like small Bigfoot. They just had a documentary on it.
Mm-hmm.
These guys went out to go look for them, and they killed like 4 of the researchers. This was like in 1970s. And they're like mini Bigfoots, the Homo floresiensis. I mean, and they're still living. But who knows what the Bigfoot thing, like I said, for them to be in the pictures and for them to not be there in person, I just think if there were so many of them, I mean, just everything would get depleted. Everything would be gone. All the leaves be gone. They'd be eating the barks off the trees. I mean, you really would see a lot more evidence that they were, like, physically there.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. You're the very first guest we've ever had on the show that believed they were interdimensional.
Well, you know what?
I really don't know how to question you about this because this is completely out of my experience, and I've been doing this for 15 years, and I've never encountered anything like that.
Well, I've been that. Look at this thing. One time I was in the woods and I was sitting there, just sitting around, because kind of let them try to come to me. Like I'd walked the woods before and I heard the footsteps and then they stopped when I stopped. But I got zapped before, which when I mean I got zapped, I've got infrasounded. They hit me with this. They hit me with this like nauseating thing that made me feel sick.
No, I've had that before.
And it made me want to get up and leave. It's like I felt vulnerable.
Right.
And like I said, it was mid-afternoon. I mean, I was straight as a pin, nothing wrong with me. And I started getting nauseous, and I was kind of sitting there like, what the hell is going on? I got to my truck and left. And I smelled that stink before you guys were talking about. Mm-hmm. And I smelled it down the street from my house. Like I said, it's just a small creek that goes in between towns. I went down there at nighttime. It was like 9 o'clock at night, and I got out of my truck. And as soon as I got out of my truck, I smelled that rotten, like, death. It's kind of like, it smelled like a dead squirrel and a dead snake mixed together or something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You smell a dead body, a dead carcass before of an animal, like fresh? Yes, no.
Well, I don't think moving down creeks through the outskirts of a city is that far-fetched. I've got a couple of friends that have that on occasion. One of them is in Maryland, not too far from you, and another one is down in southwest Ohio, and it's not outside of Cincinnati. It's not too far-fetched for them to dip in through some
Well, they use the creeks as highways. The creeks are their highways.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you there.
What I'm saying is they'll take a creek into a town just to, scope it out and then take that creek back out of town. Or they could have
chased a deer. They could have chased a deer down there, right? They could have chased a deer one like 5 miles and caught it. I don't know, right?
It's not that far-fetched.
Could have a
and they're also opportunists. You were saying that you had a dumpster there where that cabin was.
Right,
and that there were tracks at the dumpster. Okay, so where are you going to find dumpsters? In town. People out in the country don't have dumpsters.
See, I think the night I saw that thing, I think it was waiting for me to go in the cabin. It was waiting to hit that dumpster. And it was behind the cabin, and I think it growled because I was sitting out front. He's probably like, go in so I can go check the dumpster.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they're opportunists. They have to be. I mean, every animal. I mean,
well, I
was in Jersey one time. I was in Jersey, and I was trying to tell you this one other quick story. I'd seen these 2 kids. They were like 14 years old, and I was at that refinery where I ride my dirt bike. And like I said, there was all these like little hut things made out of straw. Like they were bending the grass, and like to the naked, like if somebody wasn't looking for Bigfoot, you would never notice it. But like people that look for stuff all the time, it looked kind of odd, to be there. So I met these two little kids, and I said to them, I said, hey, I was like, you ever see anything strange around here? I wanted to pick their brain. They're like, what? I was like, I told them about Bigfoot. They're like, last year, they said, we were riding our quads in here, and I thought I saw my uncle over there, like 7 o'clock at night. He goes, hey, Unc. He goes, the thing looked at me and walked away. He goes, it was all black. I was like, what? Like, I didn't really get into the Bigfoot. I just said, you see any weird things happen around here? And he's like, the thing was all black, and it just walked away. Now, him and his father made all the trails in this refinery with their quads. So the kid knows the place at the back of his hand. So I said, is there anything else around here, like, any weird stuff like you're talking about? He said, down the street there's a place called the Dredge. It's where the river dredges in, the Delaware River. And he said, when we go back there, this woman screams at us. I said, what do you mean? He goes, it sounds like, ah!
Oh, Lord.
I was like these kids, no, that's what they said to me, these kids. And these kids don't even know about Bigfoot. He said, there's huts made back there, like people made huts out of straw. Like, this is a 12, 13-year-old kid I'm talking to.
Right.
So I was like, wow. I'm like, I got to go to check it out. So I get back there. There's a softball field there, and then you go back behind the softball field, there's the woods, and there's the Dredge. So I go behind third base. I find a footprint right next to the third base coaches, like off to the side where the bleachers are, and it's like a softball field and immediate woods behind the field. So I find like a selfish footprint, near third base, and I turn my head, and I swear to God, I seen this like head. Now I only seen mid forehead, and it reminded me of like Welcome Back Kotter, the hair, because it was so like out, like it was just like a messed up dude. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And this head, it was walking by this like 6-foot mud wall, and it glided and bobbed, and it's like my heart went like, what? Like I couldn't see what it was. I just saw this head. It looked like something was walking, but it glided and bobbed up and down. So I went to the hill, look over it, and it was gone. And I'm kind of saying to her, like, what the hell was that? Like, if somebody was walking, the person would have still been walking. You know what I mean? He could have just disappeared out of thin air. Now, I waited a good minute after it walked by, because that's how scared I was to look over the hill, because I couldn't believe what I saw. But
and what time of day was there?
Oh, this was like daytime, yeah.
So
but the kids told me previously that some woman screams at them. I'm thinking this was they have a thing called day watchers, okay? They have perimeter things that watch the perimeter of the family, and they're like, lookouts. You know what I'm saying? And then I see the blur before it goes through the bushes. I mean, these things are so fast. I mean, in the video, when you see them in the video, they move in like, there's like fast and then there's them. There's a whole new meaning to fast.
Exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. They are
supernatural. Yeah, they blur. That's how fast they are. They blur.
They're incredibly
like they blur in front of your eyes. Even if you're looking at it, it'll blur. Like, use the camera, forget it. That's why it's a blob. Because your camera's grabbing a different frequency and vibration that your eyes can't see.
Well, and could it just be blurred because of how fast they move?
Well, hopefully one day,
unless you've got it on sports, where it's supposed to catch every single, and that might be an idea for people out there. Put it, some of these digital cameras have that setting for sports that it just takes continuous pictures.
Right.
And that might be a good idea to the shutter.
You gotta live in the woods. I think you gotta live in the woods. Forget about the cameras. You gotta just be able to have the money to live in the woods every day and just, come home for meals and go back to the woods. If you really want results, you gotta be them. If you want to find them, you got to be them, right?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But you can't be something you're not. Sometimes I think it's better to just be yourself.
Yeah, the 90% of life is showing up. So if you're there, rather than not being there, I mean, the camera's only going to get you so far.
Well, that's true.
It's like finding
Facebook.
I don't
have a lot of
other
faith
people
in
they
cameras.
see. It's like go after yourself and go look for it, you know?
Yeah.
I know this one guy who was...
What about recording? Have you ever tried recording?
No. I'll tell you what, this stuff is, you know what, all this stuff like the trail cams and the plaster cast, I mean, it's all fun and dandy, you know, your first couple of years doing it, but after 5 or 6 years, you're kind of like, you want to be as light as possible out there. Because if you want to go for a nice hike, you need less weight. And all these other things ain't going to get you anywhere. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I mean, I like the footprints. They're the best thing for me. But I know some guy that was selling fake footprints. And I called him out on it, and he kicked me out of his group or something. I was kind of laughing at him. I was kind of like, would you go buy a blue marlin that you didn't catch? You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. I agree with that. But, you know, that's my thing, recording. And I've learned a lot from recording.
Right.
And I've also learned that they stick around. They stick around. They come up and they stick around that microphone for hours. Now, whether they're guarding it or waiting for it to do something or warning the others not to vocalize, I don't know what they're doing out there. But they'll be out there. Yeah. And they'll be messing with this or that, and they'll get up, walk around. I don't know of any other animal that would do that. It's got to be something that knows that that's some sort of equipment. And
like I said, they're there.
Sticking around for it.
They're there.
Right.
It's hard to explain. I can't explain it. Did you ever hear about the Philadelphia experiment?
Philadelphia experiment.
Yeah, the Navy tried to do time travel, okay?
Okay.
And they made a ship disappear down the Philadelphia Navy Yard. And the ship, when the ship came back, the people inside, a lot of people got killed because they were melted into the frame of the ship because they went into time. See, that's what I'm trying to.
And this is for real.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you can look it up. You look up the Philadelphia experiment. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But I'll go back to this time travel thing again because I think the way they step into our world and step out of our world has to be through teleportation and time travel. These things are more than meets the eye. They're more than flesh and blood. That's the only thing I'm going to say. I mean, I don't know anything more than that, but I do know that because there's just too many. You have a couple of pictures there, but go look through the 200 that I sent you. You'll kind of get the gist of it.
Okay.
Now they can make their eyes blink white. They can make their eyes change colors. They can change colors of their body to adapt to what they're around, like a chameleon. Like they could be stomping on the ground, and half their body will be the color of the stump, and their other body will blend in with the ground. But in the pictures, you can still see their silhouettes. I call them plasma people. I mean, that's how I explain them.
Plasma people?
Plasma people. They're kind of like plasma. That can turn into solid. They can manifest. Yeah, it sounds crazy. You probably look at each other like he's nuts, but
well,
nobody
knows
this way.
I'm not judging you or anything like that.
I don't care.
I'm completely from a different camp.
I've grown up being judged every second.
Well, when you're in Bigfoot, you get judged anyway. You know, might as well get used to it to a extent, you know. But I have yet to really sit down with somebody and talk to them about this concept. And
right, I'd have to show it to you.
I'm really kind of out of my league, and I hope you'll understand, and I apologize that I'm not quite equipped to discuss this kind of thing.
Well, if you read Kalani's the stuff Kwani's putting out there, I mean, the stuff I'm saying sounds like football compared to what he's putting out there.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he's going real far. I mean, he's talking, I mean, it's kind of like Star Wars, like the movie. It's kind of like with the elders and the councils and, people with these Bigfoot. These Bigfoots are here they're like the watchers of the earth.
Well, now that I agree with.
They're here. Yeah, but they've been sent here. They're kind of like they talk about the Nephilim, fallen angels. I mean, I've been doing something else lately. I've been taking pictures of clouds, okay? Now, these ape images are in the clouds, too, not just in the woods. Now, we're going back to an energy thing again. I can show you clouds with these Bigfoots in the clouds. Yeah, now that's getting real crazy.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's an energy thing. It's a definite energy thing.
Well,
the only way you're going to figure it out is this. I mean, we can talk till we're blue in the face. When you go out and video the woods, right?
Right.
Go out and video the woods yourself, okay? You just video everything, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever. And go in the movie maker, edit your movie yourself, and go frame by frame and look what you get. I'm telling you, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Well, now
Everybody
I have
can do this.
two
Everybody can do
videos
it.
with I have 2 videos with Bigfoot in it, and in all of the videos, they're in it in every single frame except when they're obscured by trees, appear and disappear, then appear and disappear. They're in it except when they're obscured. And so I don't know.
Why did the Indians call them shapeshifters? Did you ever hear that? They're called shapeshifters?
Yeah, but not all Indians think that. Not all Native Americans
why do some of them do? Why do some of them do?
Yeah, but what they're saying is human beings that are doing the shape-shifting, not the Bigfoot.
Are they the skinwalkers?
Yes.
Well, Skinwalker is kind of like Bigfoot. I mean, everybody thinks it's Dogman, Bigfoot. I mean, nobody knows the answers. And I'm sick of people saying that they know answers because nobody does. Everybody's an expert in nothing.
Well,
that's the page we have to start on. We all got to start on the same page.
Well, it's about time we take a break.
Amen on that. Let's take a close to a 10-minute break. Everybody go get you something to drink. And Graz, will you bring us back after break? And we'll be back in just a few minutes. Go ahead and run that intermission.
Oh. Excuse me, I really like that song. Can't help it. Jimmy?
Yo.
Welcome back.
All right.
With what you have said so far, and we've pretty much come to an agreement that we don't understand it.
Right.
We don't necessarily have any kind of, other than theories, any kind of conversation along those lines. What do you want to do with your research? Where do you want to go with it? And like an end result would be what?
Well, everybody's trying to see one. That's basically, what I want to do again is see another one. Once that happens, the cameras won't matter anymore to me. The cameras are kind of like a recon assessment to me. It's showing me what's going on where. But I can't see with my naked eye because you're kind of seeing like what's going on when you're not there by getting the pictures.
Right.
Right. Like
well, I agree with that part. The cameras, unless you can find some way, like what I was saying about this camera that I've been working on all this time. One thing that might help is to study how people are using technology in ghost hunting.
Right.
Trying to get somehow a glimpse into what they're doing, because I think, let's say in a ghost, because of the energy it has around it on its own personal aura, whatever you want to call it, it isn't necessarily opening up a really big window, huge window. It's just opening up something within itself, just by itself.
Right.
And it's moving through, let's say, our dimension, and just kind of moving through. And sometimes it punches to where things can be seen, heard, felt. It punches through sometimes really hard to be able to pick things up, move things around, do some damage.
Right.
A lot of ghosts have learned how to do that, and that takes some practice to be able to do that, theoretically. Now, the ghost hunters, in their experience of trying to have something to see with, or, like I said, working with different kind of cameras that can see better, like there's something called a full spectrum camera. Most cameras are full spectrum.
Right.
This full spectrum camera that you can buy in a box as full spectrum is the same as a regular camera without the filter in the way. So
yeah, but I'm trying to think of something you can have. See, if you could put something on your eyes in live time, like what this movie maker thing does. Like what happens is you can videotape, right? You're not going to see it in the video, but for some reason when it goes in the movie maker, the images start to pop out when you go frame by frame. You can see it in the regular video, but the movie maker thing makes them pop out more.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think the only
like
way
you say, it's just a burst. It could be there 1 second, and it could be gone the next second in the frame.
You'd have to have a full spectrum camera attached to a computer or a
or something that your eyes like. You'd have to have it on your eyes, like because you want your hands free. That's the whole thing. That's why I use the GoPro, because trying to walk around the woods and holding the camera and trying to film while you're walking. I mean, you've tripped before, I guess, right? I mean, everybody's tripped, and it just gets pointless. And they're never going to be in front of you on the trail. They're going to be to the side. They flank you. They're going to recycle around you, and they're always going to keep you in front of them.
Or downwind of you.
Right. And I just know this, like I said, I mean, the things I'm saying are just from studying my pictures, studying the videos, and like, why do they hide if you can't see them? Like in the videos, they're hiding behind a tree, but you can't see them. Like, do they know that they can't be seen 100%? Or like in the pictures, the babies will be white when they're like really small. Will be all white, like Casper. And there's an adult behind it, but the adult's invisible. But you can see the silhouette of the adult. Like, I mean, this stuff sounds crazy. If I was in front of you and I pointed out to you how I do it, there's some people that are doing what I'm doing. There are not too many. And I don't even think scientists are onto this stuff. But like I said, if I met somebody that I could sit down with and explain to them what I'm doing, people would be interested, I think.
What about heat through a thermal camera?
Right. If I got a thermal, I mean, they're like $2,500 for a nice, for something that goes 400 yards. But, one day, right?
Right. One day.
Stuff costs a lot of money. That's why I just, I like books because it's free.
I got mine on eBay for $1,500. Yeah, join Bifro. You'll get one.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm trying to
give you one if you join? I didn't know that.
No, this was. I don't think Wally Hersham does it with Bigfoot anymore or Bifro anymore. Wally Hersham supplied Bifro groups, 1 or 2 or 3 at the most, thermal cameras. To a certain.
They can hide from the flare too, though. I think.
Well, you can't really hide from the flare. It would catch a heat signature of a ripple.
Well, that's what I'm getting.
Even a dimensional shift per se would show some kind of ripple effect with a thermal camera. You can't get rid of.
I was watching Finding Bigfoot one night, and Renee was by herself, and it was just her and the camera guy. She was doing a solo, I guess. And I literally saw green eyes, like lit up green eyes, blinking and walking around her in a circle. And they had no clue. And I even think the people that produced the show seen that. That's what's so funny about like the experts. Like they're grandstanders. They sit behind computers and their swivel chairs, and they don't do shit. They don't go out to the woods. They want to be the end word on everything. And they don't know what they're talking about. And these people are leading the Bigfoot world, whereas they don't even know what they're talking about. You know,
well,
you have the one guy.
Finding Bigfoot is a circus.
Well, I'm talking about even. I mean, I like the Mountain Monsters guys, but 5 minutes in the movie, like, oh, there he is, you're like, oh man, every time.
Yeah, well, Mountain Monsters is more entertainment value than anything.
I like them guys better than the other guys because at least they're real. I mean, the other guys are like, I've been having Sasquatch for 25 years. I still haven't seen one. You know what I mean? It's a joke.
Well, that's because they're trying to find Bigfoot.
No, they're trying not to because the show ends when they find them. So once they find them, they have no more show. So we'll just keep everybody hanging on, and we'll just go to Samantha, Missouri, and ask a couple people what they've seen, and we'll just go where they went, and maybe he'll still be there from 2 years ago. He's sitting in the same spot. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. If I ask somebody what they've seen, it's like asking me what I seen 5 years ago and going to that spot and thinking it's still there.
It's like you said about the name. The name, they're always trying to find Bigfoot, but if they ever found Bigfoot, it would end the show.
Right.
And the same with Monster Quest. Monster Quest, they were always questing for a monster, but they never found one.
Yeah, they had some good stuff on there, that Monster Quest. I like that show.
Monster Quest wasn't bad.
No.
But finding Bigfoot
is
wasted
that
time.
lost tapes thing, they described in Afghanistan the Mothman. They said the army was going in looking for Taliban in Afghanistan in the caves, and they said they encountered a 6-foot bat. Now, in Indonesia, this bat is a little weird.
That's going too far.
Oh.
Yeah, Lost Tapes is a little weird. Of course, that's back when I had cable. I gave up on cable.
This bat doesn't exist because I've seen dead ones of it in Indonesia on the internet.
Dead one what?
6-foot bats. There's bats.
You can't believe everything that you see on the internet, Jim.
No. I'm trying to say this. There are bats in Indonesia that are bigger than you think. I mean, they're just regular bats.
Right.
And there's this Mothman thing, in the United States. In Indonesia, where Russia and all these countries are, they haven't been searched, or people ain't telling anybody what's going on because the areas are so vast and so hard to get to. We only occupy 10% of the earth. If we are to say what is and what isn't, we sound foolish, I think. Because these legends, they're finding 20-foot skeletons in Greece and Bulgaria of giants. So all these myths and all these legends have to have some kind of truth to it somewhere down the line, because people weren't smart back then. Like the Nazca lines in Peru, people didn't just make these hummingbirds and spiders because they were just messing around one day. There's like airport paths there up in the mountains. We don't know anything. We don't know anything.
Right. I agree. We don't have all the answers.
We're a blink.
Right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
We had a guest on, it was a few years back, and I asked him about what did he think about Bigfoot just disappearing in front of people. And his answer was maybe it's a Bigfoot ghost. And I just thought that was a very interesting answer.
Yes.
Maybe, but maybe they're in spirit form.
Well, they call them elementals. It's like the fairies, the gnomes, the Bigfoot. You know, I mean, there's other things out there too. I don't even want to get into it because it sounds even crazier. I'm just going by what I heard. And like I said, these things. I mean, they show up in pictures. I have a thing in a picture. It's the size of a leaf, and it looks like a little ape person, but he's 2 inches tall. You know, it's got a face and nose and everything on it. It looks like Chaka from Land of the Lost. Remember that show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was one of my favorite shows when I was growing up.
Yeah, when they fell down.
Saturday morning. Yeah.
And the flea stacks, right? The flea stacks.
Right, the flea stacks. And, yeah.
Now, what did they mess with? They messed with crystals, right? Crystals. Now, we're finding out that crystals have healing properties. And that these stones are more... This chemist is on the Internet, right? Not on the Internet, but you can Google this. Now, they were talking about the cloaking Bigfoot. They have a theory. They said that from eating granite and quartz can change your molecular composition of your DNA over thousands of millions of years from eating dirt and these rocks. And that was a theory the chemists came up with of how these things can cloak. Now, I have another theory, too. It could be Homo denisovans, and it could be a mixture of ancient hominids that haven't went extinct, right? You know what Homo denisovan is?
Mm-hmm.
Say that again?
Homo denisovans.
Never heard of it.
Okay, it's from Eastern Asia. It's a hominid. It's millions of years old. It was right before actually it's not millions of years old. It was probably before Heidelbergensis in that range in the Neanderthal, in between those periods. Now, hominids probably mixed over time, and this thing could have developed from that. If you look at a picture of Homo denisovan, it looks like Spider-Man with hair. And that's what they used to call female Bigfoots in the Northwest, the natives. They called her Owl Woman, too, right? That means an evil woman in the native culture, Owl Woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
You ever hear that?
No, I haven't ever heard of that.
Okay.
But I guess Grant has.
Well, we got a question from the chat. I guess that's New Hampshire Squatch. I'm going to take it for granted that NH is New Hampshire. What does the guest think of Les Stroud, Survivor Man, and his Bigfoot investigation?
I think he's legit. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. If anybody would know the woods, it's him. He also described two things jumping out of the trees and making the grunts, the territorial behavior.
I can't say much for his choice of guesses in his first few ones. I haven't watched him since, I think, like...
Well, he has an open mind to it.
I think I've seen three of his shows. Who was that guy out of Canada? I can't remember his name right now. That was
Todd Standing?
Todd Standing, thank you. That was Todd Standing. Now, in my view, I don't know who his people are that put these things together, but I'm not going to blame it on Les because he's really trying. I get a feeling that he's trying to understand the situation, but that he's had some problems with his producers getting some interesting guests that aren't worth his time.
Right.
Unfortunately. I'm not absolutely. I could name some people that would be a lot more worth his time, but we'll leave it up to his producers to go from there.
You know, Les said a smart thing one night when I was watching the show. He said that the tree snaps, the fresh tree snaps. He said that the Native Americans used to use that as a way of not getting lost through the woods. You know, like the little small sapling snaps here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even human hunters use that method to find their way in and out.
So where I live at, there's no hunting, and like I said, I live right outside of Philadelphia,
mm-hmm.
and there's trees I mean, where I go behind the cemetery. There's a big pocket of woods, and back there's, you can walk a straight line, and you can see the trees snapped in a row. Like somebody was saying, go this way, or, or the trees are twisted. It's not natural. It's like they're like twisted around. There's 4 trees going into one, making a big X. I mean, like I said, the evidence that you're seeing out in the deep woods of this country are right here, in the woods of the cities. They're here.
So other
than
when you were growled at from behind the cabin, have you ever been growled at in any other time?
No, never growled at. Like I said, I'm a city boy.
Yeah. Have you ever researched with other people?
No.
Okay.
So I can't pay people to growl at me. They get Bigfoot.
How come?
You want to, if somebody's talking and you want them to shut up, say Bigfoot, and people just shut up.
Yeah.
Because people don't want to talk about it. They think you're nuts. It's like I got rid of a lot of people that way. I just start talking about Bigfoot, and they leave the room. I'm like, thank you, bye.
So what about other Bigfoot researchers? You ever considered getting with some other ones that are there in Pennsylvania and going out with them?
Yeah, I do, but it's like, like I said, I don't wait nobody to hold my hand. People talk stuff, and like, yeah, we're going to do it, and nothing happens. And I don't wait around for nobody. So either you want to come and do it or you don't.
Right.
I'm not waiting around for you. That's how you got to be, because if people, they say they want to do it, they start walking in the woods a half an hour, and they're like, they want to go home. They're like, all right, what are we doing? I'm like, what do you mean? We're looking for shit.
Right.
People get impatient. They think they're going to walk in the woods and see a fucking 10'8" man saying, hi, give me a pizza. It ain't going to happen.
No, it doesn't really happen like
never
that.
Happen.
Right. I was just curious is the fact that, I learned a lot by going out with other people. And especially
going out with other people, yeah.
When I first got started in it, I researched with a lot of different people, and I learned a great deal. And then some of it was misinformation. Not everything that you learn is going to pertain to your area.
Right.
I was told in the very beginning that women shouldn't go out in the woods if they're on their monthly because they'll get nabbed and raped and all this kind of stuff. And
yeah, well, Canada has the most missing women in the world.
And see, you hear all of this. Well, I can't let that stop me.
Canada has the most missing women in the world. How are they missing?
I know. I can't let it stop me because I would not know anything today.
My theory is this: the more people you go out with, the less results you're going to get. And it's not like being.
Well,
I just think you should be with like 1 or 2 people, tops. Like 3 people is plenty.
Yeah,
because when you're going out in groups,
with you
they're going to avoid you. They're going to avoid you if you go out in groups.
Well, I've heard that too, but I'm going to tell you, I've been in large groups when we've had activity. It just depends on where you're at. Where you're at. If you're in a truly hot spot, and you may have a larger group with you, it just depends on where you're at. Now, if you're in an area where activity is very irregular and it's not considered a hot spot, then I think the smaller a group, the better. The more likely you're going to have results. Yeah. But if you go to an area where they're thick and they show up every time, doesn't matter if there's 10 people or 2, they show up every time, then that's a little bit different. But I just wanted to say, I really think it would, I would suggest going out with other people and just get a different perspective because, you said it yourself at the very beginning of the show that you need to keep your mind open and don't put all your eggs in one basket because you'll miss it. You'll miss the whole picture.
Oh, no,
you'll
my
miss
eggs are everywhere. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I would say from doing all the videos and pictures, it's led me to this direction. That's what I mean. Because the physical and everything. Like I believe in all that.
They're shooting outside. Can y'all hear them out there shooting? Can you hear that on the? Every time they shoot the gun, I jump 10 feet.
Who's shooting?
Was it hunting season down there?
Yeah, Mark and his brother are out there burying, and I guess they're shooting at something. I don't have any idea. But the moon's coming up. Maybe they're shooting it in. Who knows? But if they shoot that gun one more time, I am going to have to go down there and say something to them because I'm about to just...
They got some hairy guy at the edge of the brush line down there by the pond or something.
Can't shoot, you can't see. Well, look at what's his name? Who's that guy? The guy from he said he strangled and killed one in California. What was his name?
Oh, I have never heard this story.
Smega, something like that.
Yeah, that came back as Black Bear. All his DNA was Black Bear. It was all bullshit. He was a liar.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Black Bear.
Well, yeah, he had an explanation for that. Is that he didn't know exactly where he had left them, and that they had mistakenly found a bear carcass. Blah blah blah. So that's another one.
Let me tell you something. When you strangle a fucking Bigfoot, you're gonna remember exactly where you did it. I mean,
good luck trying to do that too, considering how strong.
Yeah, I know.
It's reported to be.
Yeah, and
I don't know how that would be possible.
I don't remember him saying he strangled one. I was watching it.
No, he said he choked it out.
Ago.
He said he shot it. He choked it out. He said because it didn't die right away.
Yeah, the little one. Right. He picked it up and looked at it. Okay.
No,
I don't remember the choking part, but yeah, I remember that.
He cried. No, when National Geographic said it was Black Bear, he started crying. He said that don't work for me. I said, yeah, it don't work because you're a liar. I mean, why would you cry? Why would you cry? I don't understand. People cry when they're trying to be defensive. Because I don't want to get women mad, but women do that sometimes. They start crying after that's their last. You know what I mean? The crying.
Well,
part.
I just, if someone doesn't believe me, I just, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, it got to the point now where I don't care if someone believes me or not. I know what I know, and if they don't believe me, that they're entitled to their opinion. And but I remember when I used to I would just really, back when I first started this, there wasn't Finding Bigfoot on TV, and there wasn't no Monster Quest, and Bigfoot was just a joke. And if you said, I saw one, everybody gave you that sideways look, like, sure you did. What you been smoking? Or they,
that's what I'm getting now.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, see, I'm from an Italian neighborhood where these people only know pizza. So when I brought up Bigfoot to the people I grew up with, they were not just laughing, they were just like, falling over laughing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And
I cut them all out. They're all blocked from Facebook or whatever, and nobody's gonna thwart my end result on this. You know what I mean? You gotta have thick skin. You can't care what people think.
Well, and that's absolutely true. But I'm gonna tell you something. People are more willing to discuss it now than they were. I actually had somebody that I work with that's a very respected member of the community, and he asked me about my first sighting. And he actually let me tell my story. And I was absolutely, completely a nervous wreck telling him because I almost didn't believe myself. And I was there and I saw it. But it was just, I felt so intimidated because this was an important person that was asking me this. But it's just that his children watch Finding Bigfoot, and it's all over the media now, and so it's a much more approachable subject than it was 15 years ago. But I remember back when I first started all of this, and I would tell people what I did, it was just horrible the way they were. They would just laugh. Really? And just laugh.
Well,
but now they say it this way. They go, really? That's cool. And we can thank Finding Bigfoot for that. Yeah, exactly. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Jimmy. This is your show, not mine. So go ahead.
No, it's not my show. That's what I was going to say. But what was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry, keep going.
I'm through.
I could talk about this for days. I mean, because it was the most, like you said 15 years ago. When I found out about this 5 years ago, nothing is more interesting to me than this in life. I mean, nothing. Like clothes, cars. I mean, I think we hit a new spiritual consciousness. That's why this Bigfoot thing it's a personal journey for yourself.
You're definitely right about that. I totally agree.
For you to
because
go out
I am nowhere near the same person I was before. Prior to 2000, I didn't believe in them at all. Not at all. I never even watched anything about them. I never watched The Legend of Boggy Creek. I never paid attention to the Patterson-Gimlin film. I didn't know anything about them at all.
I didn't either.
And then I absolutely didn't believe it.
It just hit you, right? It just hit you one day.
Well, no, I moved into an area where
did it come from?
I moved into an area that they lived in and were thick stronghold in there. And I started having all this stuff start happening. And then one day, the clincher was I actually had a sighting. That's when I really believed. Because prior to that, I thought it's possible, all the signs here. I'm seeing all the signs. I'm seeing the track. I'm hearing the vocals. I'm hearing the wood knocking. All these things that they say Bigfoot do, I was having them in tons of activity, but I had never seen one. And I was thinking they possibly live here. But then when I saw one, that completely changed my world. And let me tell you what, it takes you down a different journey. And you never
It humbles you, yeah.
Yes, it does. Did you realize there are things out here in this world that you just never would have thought existed? It shocks you because you think
that's why I said it's like nothing else matters anymore. Nothing else possessed.
No. It changed. Yeah, you're obsessed. From that point, you're obsessed.
No, I said I'm possessed now. It's like it's like
you're possessed?
So I think it's possessed. Yes. My girlfriend, she, every day I get up, first thing I do, you do what you like, right? First thing I do, I edit my pictures every morning for 5 years. I do this every morning. And she's like, that's all I see you do is these blurry pictures. And I'm like, go do something. I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm like, this is what I'm doing. And it's going to get me somewhere, and I know it will. I mean, it's just a lot of work.
Well, you have to experiment. You can't do anything about what you're doing in the past. You have to experiment to move forward.
Right.
It's dedication. It's dedication about something that you really believe in. And other people do not understand it, and they won't. I lost my marriage over it. He could not. He said I was chasing, what did he call it, leprechauns. Me and all these people were chasing leprechauns. For a while, it really and truly, I became so obsessed with it that it became all I thought about.
Right.
And he's just like, I don't believe in them, and I just can't deal with this. So he was gone. And it was like I just kept on. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think we were not chosen, but I just think that we're like, see when the mind said it was that 2012 was going to be the end of the world. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
It was misinterpreted. That was misinterpreted. It's supposed to be a new phase of thinking, of higher consciousness.
You're probably right about that.
Getting back to the spirit.
It was the end of the world as we know it, and more of it was a new world from that point on.
Right, like we're all into our phones now, these iPhones, and, people are disconnecting. And this Bigfoot thing is to grab the people. It's making you get back to nature. And that's where it all started.
That's right.
All these physical, all these money things with the the toys and the cars, and this shit don't matter no more. It doesn't. Because look at ISIS. We got people coming from across the world that want to kill us. That tell us they want to kill us, and we're not doing nothing about it. You know. And, this thing's happening like shit's hitting the fan. We don't even know it. It's happening right in front of our eyes. So
what do you think? So what do you think it has to do with us going into the woods and reconnecting with nature and reconnecting with Mother Earth, basically?
Right. That's what the Sasquatch thing is.
Well, and some people say there's a connection with the amount of Sasquatch sightings that we're having, all the end time talk, and the new consciousness, and all of it's all connected in one way or another. And I forgot. I'm sorry. I was going somewhere with that, and it just escaped me. I apologize.
Okay, here's something you can Google. You can Google this, okay? In Egypt in 2012 when they were having the riots. Now CNN, you're going to Google CNN White Chariot, okay? CNN, they were showing the riots in Egypt, right? There was chaos everywhere, fires burning. It was crazy. A white chariot with a person riding a horse literally flew out of the screen like a ghost. You can Google this and see this. Now, in Revelations, it talks about the white horse, right? In the Revelation.
Right. It's one of the horsemen of the apocalypse.
Right, of the apocalypse, right? Now, now, if we don't see what's going on over there right now, it's not a good thing, It's not like it's going to get better before it gets, Bigfoots they're like I said, the spiritual side of them, they're like fallen angels. They're watching us, and they're trying to keep the earth as preserved as they can, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think things will eventually become clearer to people. And I truly think it's going to be those people that are out there.
Well, they say the veil's thinning. There's a veil, they said, between the spiritual world and the physical world. They said thinning to the point where...
And scientists have proved that there's 7 different generations out there, or dimensions out there, 7 or 9. I can't remember how it is.
Right.
Excuse me. Oh, I'm going to have to mute a second. Graz?
Well, philosophically speaking, it's a personal journey anyway. The bigger picture that's going on around the world, that's just humans being humans. They've done this for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Now we have just bigger toys to play with. That's the only difference.
Right.
And the rest of it is like us or anybody else out there doing their own things. A lot of people are delving into different religions and whatnot. They're trying to find something.
Right.
But we're all going to experience different things in different ways and have our own, let's say, openings to whatever it is that we're looking for.
Right.
So when it comes to Bigfoot, when it comes to the Native Americans who have been around here a lot longer than we have,
right,
they had their own battles between themselves, between tribes. They had their own little evil ways. Some were good Indians, some were not.
Aztecs and the Incas, right?
Right, and the Mayans and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
There has been good and evil all along, but the earth itself has survived. Bigfoot has been through all of this from the beginning. What level, and they're just like we are. They're going to be good ones, they're going to be bad ones, they're going to be just average ones, they're just like what people are looking for. that they just want the scientific value of it. They're going to find the ones that are basically average Bigfoot that don't go into the spiritual realm kind of thing, just like humans.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that some people are seeing into certain pockets where this, like you were saying, dimensions have a little bit more fluidity.
Right.
There is a chance. I'm giving it a chance. Because I haven't experienced this myself. No one in this show has experienced it ourselves. You're talking about the Matthew Johnson kind of thing, Tom Cantrell kind of thing. There are some people that are theoretically, and just going by what they say, they're delving into that kind of realm. And like you said, the Indians say that they do this shape-shifting or whatever. Right. And that they can come and go as they please. There are certain tribes that say that. Other tribes are saying that they're evil and that they kill, they rape, they torture, blah, blah, blah. There's all kinds of...
Genoa, right. Mm-hmm.
Right. There's all kinds of different tribes that have different things about it. And they tell the kids, don't go out in the woods. They'll take you away in a basket. That's up here. Mm-hmm. All right. Near Seattle. There's all kinds of levels of experience, in other words. We can't necessarily judge. I mean, there's going to be a lot of laughter. You have to expect that. And it has happened. With the Matthew Johnson thing, I mean, there's some sites that are just almost, if you read them, almost dedicated to laughing at people like Matthew Johnson. What he experienced.
Larry Bird. You talking about Larry Bird?
No, the Matthew Johnson thing up here in Oregon. It's called SOHA.
Guy, right? He's the doctor guy, right?
Right. He's a psychologist.
Yeah, I call him Larry Bird. He looks like Larry Bird. Right.
Yeah. And he actually had a conference, and he explained it not too far from me in Bremerton. He explained it, the portals and the guardians for the portals, and Alan Davies, and a few other people, Adam Davies, and a few other people. Adam Davies and one other person experienced it along with him. There's all kinds of subjective talk. It's their personal experience.
Right.
And I and the others here in the room, we don't know what the hell's going on with it.
I don't even know who Larry Bird is.
There's ghost activity. We understand.
Larry Bird is a basketball player for the Boston Celtics a long time ago.
Yeah, he just kind of looks
I know. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, Matthew Johnson is rather large and used to be a basketball player of some kind. I don't know.
Right.
But,
I knew that Larry Bird, but I didn't know if there was another Larry Bird that was.
No, I just call him Larry Bird because he looks like Larry Bird. So it's kind of like how I used to be a bartender, and every drink I remember was from a nickname. So when somebody says Matthew Johnson, I put that name with him so I can remember him. You know what I mean? It's like a facial recognition thing.
Oh, well, you're confusing me, so.
Yeah. My mind's all over the place. Don't worry about it. I'm like...
Go ahead,
there's a lot of things to think about with this kind of thing. Like I was saying, it's all totally subjective.
Right.
And you can put the word out about it. You can have a Facebook account, and you can put all your experiences out there on a Facebook account and talk about it. But, again, it's only going to be your personal subjective experience.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's why it doesn't – the pictures don't even really matter anymore. They do, but they don't. Because it's either you're trying to like break clear of this. I mean, I want to get the best raw footage I can get of something moving in the woods. I mean, that's everybody's wish, right? I mean, you want to get that great picture like Patty, you know?
But in your case, you're dealing with something that you're going to have to try to figure out as far as using the program or whatever to get something out of it.
Well, I'm about to get better equipment. I got to get better equipment. Yeah.
Right, and that is your experimentation. You're coming at it from your direction. Other people are coming at it from other directions. Like I was saying, if you, in your case, you might experiment with something that ghost hunters are using for interdimensional pictures, trying to get evidence. But like I said, we can't necessarily judge you. We don't understand the situation because we don't go through it.
Right.
Any more than we could go and necessarily judge Matthew Johnson or Tom Cantrell or some of the other ones. Barbara Shoup.
Tom Cantrell. Oh, God. Yeah.
And Barb Shoup doesn't live too far from me either, and she always talks about Floki and things like that. Right. We don't understand it because we weren't there. And the video cameras
I'll tell you what. If any of you guys want to throw me a video of yours that you've taken in the woods, send it to my page, and I'll edit it for you, and I'll show you what's in your own video. And you'll understand it kind of then.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm not good at blob splotches. You know, I've had people show me pictures and
I'm just saying, if you send me a video through email or something, I'll edit it for you, the video, and I'll show you in your own video what I'm talking about, these beings. I can do it anywhere. I can do it in anybody's video, anytime. It's real easy. It sounds crazy.
Have you ever done video that there wasn't one in there?
Well, that's what I'm saying. When I video the woods, there's never nothing there. When I go back and edit the videos, pop in the videos.
So no matter where you go and what you film,
no matter where I go, I'm telling you, guaranteed. Now maybe I'm getting an elemental that looks like Bigfoot, but what I'm saying, when these things look like Tatty in my video, I mean my edits, my stills from the video, from these frames. They look like Tatty. There's 1,000 different looks. Some of them, I have things that look like
what
like
you're
labyrinth.
Saying is not shadows or.
No.
Shadows.
No. Some of them,
dark.
I just got a couple things from my cell phone because I didn't know how to transfer it through my email. But like I said, I have thousands of pictures from video. That will make your jaw drop. I mean, there's just no explanation for these things. Teeth, eyes, noses, wolf-looking, dog-looking, ape-looking, human-looking, red hair, white hair, blue, black, brown, auburn, you name it.
Well,
white toenails, black toenails, hair, no hair, hair to the elbow. You know, some of them have hair to the elbow. Some of them have hardly any hair. Some of them have gorilla hair. Huge eye sockets, but their eyes are exactly like ours. The socket's huge around their eyes, but their eyes just like ours. I mean, I'm going to say, we're going to get back into it again. You'd have to be in front of me. And when I point it out to you, like my mom can see this stuff. My mom's 67 years old. And I showed it to her. She's like, oh, my God. Now, my grandmother, I just want to tell you this before I forget. My grandmother grew up in Philly in the 1930s. And where she lived next to Fairmount Park, which is the biggest city woods in the country, like Central Park. Like, this is bigger than Central Park. So when they made the houses, they're still building. The quarry was behind her house with the tree line from the woods. And she said when she used to look out the window, this is before I told her about Bigfoot. I said to her about Bigfoot. She goes, you know what? She goes, when I was a kid at nighttime, I would stare into the wood line outside my back window at night. She goes, I would see these shadows moving through the tree lines. Have you ever heard about Missouri people? Missouri called them shadow people. You ever hear that?
No, I always heard they call them
Momo. They call them the Momo.
Yeah, Momos, yeah.
Momo. Now, she's seen, there's somebody in Missouri. That's the thing that I loved about Bigfoot. I was getting stories from Indonesia and Oklahoma with the same stories. Like, these people have no TV, no computers, and they're describing the same thing as Oklahoma. Two different languages, but same stories. Mm-hmm. That's the stuff that got me intrigued. I mean, that's the stuff that ticks me.
Well, we are now down to 4 minutes. And I have to tell you...
I think my arm fell asleep now.
I have to tell you, this is one of the most entertaining shows. I'll use that word.
And it's going to be controversial as well. I can just imagine
it's
what's
going to be controversial.
Hey, you know what? I'm the Trump of Bigfoot.
That's okay. You know, like I was telling you, everyone's coming from every direction, and they're coming from their own direction. So we can't necessarily judge what they're... Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Grass. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, like I was saying, we can't necessarily judge the output and the outcome of whatever it is that you're doing. We'll just have to leave it at that and let the rest of the world come up with their own conclusions on their own, and leave you to do your research, which could lead somewhere.
That's good.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm pretty confident in what I'm doing.
Well, we want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thank you. I really
appreciate
it.
Giving us your time.
It was a great time, and you guys are a great bunch of people, and have a happy Halloween.
Yes, and a happy Halloween, too, and a safe one for you.
Going on a Halloween like Saturday. I'm doing Elton, Maryland. We're going.
Oh, that sounds great. That sounds great. Well, I wish you luck. I hope you have good results, and I thank you very much for coming on the show.
Great. If you ever any questions, just give me message me on Facebook or whatever. And like you said, if you guys want me to edit any of your videos for you, send them to me on Facebook and I'll edit them and I'll show you guys.
Okay. Now, how do they reach you on Facebook?
Jimmy Hayes, or I'm on Pennsylvania Bigfoot Association. That's my Facebook page.
Okay. Well, everyone, it's been a great night. We want you all out there to have a very safe and enjoyable Halloween. Watch out for all those ghouls and goblins out there. And we'll see y'all next Thursday at 8 o'clock on Nite Callers Bigfoot Radio. So everyone say good night.
Good night, everybody.
See ya.
All right.
Night.
And this is my impression of a traveling lounge singer. And we're going up the airport escalator. Hey, where you from? No response. Classic. Got in an accident, so you gotta take a cab, huh? No cabs at Progressive service centers. They got rental cars on site, which is out of sight, you know?
Progressive takes the hassle out of claims. Just drop your car off at one of our service centers and we'll manage the rest.
Here's a little number I like to call Waiting for the Shuttle Bus.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Service centers not available in all areas. You have a choice of repair facilities.